Focus on me. Focus on me. Before we even start this video, just read the title, please. Just read the title. I'm not saying that Need for Speed World 2 is coming out. I'm talking about if it would happen. It's a discussion video. I'm talking about my ideas. I just want to say it because people are going to get confused. Sound clickbait. What is up, guys? Welcome to another video, and today we're going to go ahead and talk about Need for Speed MMOs, and more specifically, what's going on with Need for Speed Edge, what's going on with Need for Speed World currently, because there is a few things we should talk about there, and if we'll ever get another Need for Speed MMO, if we'll ever get a Need for Speed World 2, if we'll ever even get Need for Speed Edge over in the Western markets. We're kind of just going to talk about Need for Speed MMOs. Interesting topic because I do actually think there's a lot to talk about here. There's a lot to dissect. I don't think it's a far-fetched idea that we'll see a Western MMO for a Need for Speed game. But I do think there's a few things which need to happen first before we even remotely get close to that idea and that world. So that's exactly what we're going to talk about in this video. So recently I've noticed, especially for me at least on my channel, there's been a bit of a resurgence for the Need for Speed World videos. Now that might be just the algorithm getting really lucky. It could be multiple things. But one thing I know for certain, you know, being someone who has been making videos about racing games for years now, is that Need for Speed World is something which is definitely missed by the Western audiences. The gameplay you're seeing now is actually gameplay that I got today off Need for Speed World's kind of revamped thing, which I'll basically make another video about if you want me to. I was thinking about making a how to install video on that, so if you do actually want to see that about Need for Speed World and maybe play some Need for Speed World yourself, please do let me know in the comment section down below. I'll actually leave a card in the top right if you want to see like an installation video and then talking about how to get it working and stuff, but that's a different topic for a different day. It's very, very obvious to me that Need for Speed World has gone missed. And it's, you know, furthermore than that, you know, the fact that people have gone to the lengths to get Need for Speed Edge working in, even myself, I did that. I tried to get Need for Speed Edge, and in fact I did. I played it for a while, to be fair, and I had quite a lot of fun, even though it was pretty much just rivals, but with a lot more cars. There's definitely a space for an MMO Need for Speed game. Need for Speed is one of those games that is universally known. And Need for Speed MMO is almost always going to do well, and if they were to base it around customization and urban street racing, there's no real reason why that couldn't do really well, you know, in the modern day, especially, you know, with officially licensed parts, etc, etc. Now I do think in some ways we are kind of getting past the kind of days of free-to-play online PC MMOs. I think that's very much a trend thing. I don't think there's many at the moment that I can think of that really are prospering and are, you know, getting better. But that's not for me to say that I don't think we couldn't see a Need for Speed game, you know, that is an MMO. Like, that's not for me to say that. I think there's a few things which need to happen before we can even contemplate the idea of a Need for Speed MMO long free-to-play game. That's firstly what we're going to talk about. The actual main series needs to get back in shape first off. There's no way Need for Speed MMO can exist when the series and the current state of the series is the shambles that it's in. Ghosts haven't made a good game, period, and I've said this so many times on the channel. Rivals was trash and broken. 2015, as much as I liked it, I can't sit here and say that was exactly a polished masterpiece. And Payback went further backwards than 2015 did. So you can see, like, Ghost don't have a good track record. Chances are Ghost probably wouldn't do this MMO. But, you know, the actual foundations of an MMO would be the actual series itself. You can't have an MMO when the whole series is in a shambles. You need to have the series in a good place. For example, with Need for Speed World, it was based on some of the best games in the series, Carbon and Most Wanted. So it had that basis, and not only was it a great basis in terms of the games that it was based on, the physics it was based on, everything was polished and well made. There wasn't really many bugs. There was obviously problems with speed boost, etc, etc. And there was little glitches here and there, money glitches, whatnot. But for the most part, the actual foundations of the game were solid. They went to the effort to rebuild and recreate all of the cities. For those that haven't seen my Need for Speed documentary, I had the chance to interview an old black box dev, a guy called Drew, and he said in that documentary that they had to go to the effort to rebuild both Rockport and the Carbon City for PCs of that generation, because otherwise it would have been too low res, etc, etc. I just don't think that's even reasonable right now. Another reason why I don't think it will happen is because of just the current landscape of gaming. Obviously with World, it was a huge money pit. Like, the amount of money that EA probably made from that was mad. With how microtransactions are, with how the kind of line between free games and paid games is kind of being blurred. I hate to talk about Fortnite because it's so overused, but how that free-to-play game now is almost on the same level as these paid games. This blurring of the lines is something which really is kind of kind of crosses boundaries, I guess, and it's something which is kind of hard. It's not really 2010 anymore, I guess is kind of what I'm saying. Now, don't get me wrong, I do think there's money in it. I think there's a lot of money to be made in something like this. Even if it was a free-to-play game, not only on PC, but across the board. I think there's a lot of room for that. It's just one of those things as well, with the lines being blurred between free games and paid games, how do you differentiate the main series from this free-to-play title? Those are two completely different things, which I just think are so hard to do nowadays, which obviously 10 years ago, it was a lot easier, but now it's just a completely different beast. It's a completely different problem, because we didn't have these problems, you know, 10 years ago. The specific title World 2, I don't think will ever happen. I don't think it's that far-fetched, you know, the possibility of us actually getting a Need for Speed MMO, like its own separate MMO. But I think if you are looking for some type of MMO experience, at least looking at Payback and the direction they went with Payback with the cards and stuff, maybe look towards the next game. If you're a fan of World, and if you were a fan of Edge, and if you're a fan of just Need for Speed MMOs in general, the best thing and the best kind of direction I could put someone in that direction to look towards is probably just to play World. As you're seeing from this gameplay that I've been showing you guys, World is still very much alive. You know, I know I made a few videos about this since, you know, but it's alive and kicking. You know, people are now getting mods into World and stuff. So if you really want that kind of authentic MMO Need for Speed experience, I do think the best place for that is still Need for Speed World. Yeah, it's just a really weird one. I think because there's definitely a demand for it, but I just don't think the whole gaming landscape has a demand for it. I think Need for Speed fans and the community generally would really benefit from having a World, but I don't think the industry would, if that makes sense. There's definitely a market for it with us, you know, but we're a very closed community. You know, racing fans, we're a very closed community. There's not many of us, and I think as much as we would benefit from this, I think it would get played, and I think they would make money from it. I don't think with the way the gaming landscape is now, it would be possible. Just with how lines are being blurred between AAA titles and free-to-play titles, I think that kind of problem, it just kind of makes it really hard for a World 2 or a Need for Speed MMO to exist in the current day. I genuinely do think that Need for Speed Edge is probably going to be the last type of Need for Speed MMO we ever see. I do think Need for Speed MMOs are dead. I think that period of you know, of Need for Speed is gone. I don't think we're going to get another one. And the thing is, with Need for Speed, there's been so many of them. Motor City Online, whether you think that's a Need for Speed game or not, I would probably lean on the fence of saying it's probably not a Need for Speed game. But then you've had World, and then you've had, you know, Edge more recently. I'd love to see it. I would love to see it, and I think for most people they would love to see it as well. I wouldn't even mind if they revamped World and made that its own thing. I think that would be really cool, but I just think with the way the landscape is with microtransactions and with free-to-play games and not free-to-play games, I just can't see it working in 2019. So that's my opinion on Need for Speed MMOs generally. Obviously I kind of like base this video around World just because I have seen a little bit of a resurgence in World recently, but it does apply to the whole MMO category. I don't think free-to-play MMOs are really popular at all anymore. That's why EA have got rid of most of theirs. But I also do think that there is space for gameplay elements from those games which were so good that can come over to the main series, and I think that's something which we should focus on instead of, you know, asking for a World revamp or asking for an MMO, because I don't necessarily think that's the answer. I think the answer, honestly, is making sure the main game's good. I think that's where they need to focus all their resources. Until that's sorted, they can't, you know, have an MMO. They can't really explore other avenues, because what can you do when the main series is in such a shambles? With that being said, I don't really have much else to say. I just kind of want to talk about it because it's been on my mind. I've been playing a lot of World recently. My account got deleted for some reason. That's why a lot of what you're seeing is so early gameplay and stuff. But I just kind of want to talk about it because I know a lot of people care about this, and I know, you know, it's just one of those things that is really interesting. And for me, I had a few opinions about it. It's a really interesting thing just to how gaming's changed in the past few years, and especially with Need for Speed, I think this is something which is kind of important because World is still really popular even though it's offline. That being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to go ahead and hit the like, subscribe for more Need for Speed content. Let me know in the comment sections, you know, if you want to see that World installation video so you guys can go ahead and play it yourself. But also let me know what you think of what I've said in this video. Do you think MMOs would be possible in 2019, not only for Need for Speed but for every game? Because I can't see it working in the current landscape, and I'm interested to see what you guys think. So let me know in the comment section down below. That's been it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit the like, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys have been. So stay safe and peace.